Hey y'all, Jamie here. Proud 56-year-old trans woman from New Orleans. So, where last I left off, it was 1996. I was 26 years old and I was trying to buy a minivan because I was doing a lot of drag shows and I was still working the ads at that time, doing sex work on the ads. And, when I wasn't doing sex work, I was performing in drag shows. And so I needed a minivan to be like my dressing room on wheels, if you will, to haul costumes and things like that. And I wanted to start doing more pageants. So I was thinking props, things of that nature. And so, yeah, I had asked my sugar daddy, Ron Wrecker. Yeah, I called him Ron Wrecker. It's very close to his real name, very close. But anyway, I'm not going to say his real name, but his name, I called him Ron Wrecker because Ron wrecked my nerves. Every time this man called me, and I saw him for a solid decade, okay? From 1993 to 2003, honey, he was a regular every week, every week. And, he would he would call and he would like make requests, if I could wear this costume or that outfit. Would I mind wearing these particular heels? Could I do my hair this way one day? Could I do it that way another day? Like really particular, very particular. And I mean, look, he was a good trick, but he was $200, which in those days was damn good money. In those days, that was damn good money, but it was $200. So he would come over and he would like flip this way, flip that way. Let me turn you this way. Let me do it that way. The whole 9 yards. And I was just like, what are you doing, Mary? Get off of me. So, yeah. Anyway, I'd asked him for the money anyway to go get this used van. He wrote me a check. I go to the dealership. The dealership goes to do all of the paperwork. And then they said, well, let's just go to the bank and deposit the check. And then, we'll take care of the rest of the paperwork. The check bounced. Hot as fuck. Bounce, just bounce, bounce, bounce like a basketball. I was so humiliated. I had like convinced these people that this van was mine. I was so humiliated. So, what did I do? Well, you might ask, what did I do? Y'all, listen. I went home and I proceeded to wake up the next day because this was like late afternoon when this happened. The very next morning, I got up. I got in full high geesh, honey. We call that high geesh when you're like, basically like I'm made up right now, full glam. We used to call it high geesh when it was full glam. So I did full glam, okay? I dressed like a stone hooker. Like I was dressed like an absolute fucking prostitute. Like I looked like I should have had a price tag hanging off of me. Seriously. And I went to his office. Mm. See, Ron Wrecker is an attorney. He's a lawyer, an attorney at law. Love that. Now, I love lawyers. Okay, I've known many. I love lawyers. Um, but Ron Wrecker was not expecting me. I show up in his office. And as soon as I walk in, I see the son of a bitch down the hallway in his office, and he like dives into this little office. So I walk up to the receptionist and I'm like, listen, I'm here to see Ron, and I need to, I really need to talk to him about something. And she said, oh, well, let me see. And if you could just wait a moment. And then she tells me, I'm sorry, Mr. Wrecker is not in the office today. Is there something I could help you with? And I said, well, honey, listen, I know you're doing your job, but between me, you, and the fence post, I already saw the son of a bitch dive into his office down the hallway. So you can go tell him that I said I will be parked right here in his lobby until he comes deals with me. Y'all, that man came and dealt with me. He came and fucking dealt with me. Let me tell you something. He got out of that goddamn office and he came out to the front and he took me out front and he was like, Jamie, I promise I'll make it up to you. I promise I'll make it up to you. Just, you gotta go. You gotta go. You can't be here. He was married. Of course he was married. He didn't want his whole office seeing me in there like that. Honey, I threw the hooker, I threw the hooker act in full gear in his office. He paid me my motherfucking money. He gave me that $3,500. He gave it to me that day. He made good on it that day. And I went back to that dealership and I got my van. It was still there. I went back and I got my van like 2 days after that, and I apologized profusely for the whole thing, and it was what it was. But Ron Wrecker, he learned not to play with me, honey. He knew after that, don't fuck with me about my money. You can play with me about a lot of things. Don't play with me about my money. So, anyway, y'all, I had decided that I wanted to do another pageant. Okay, since I was doing all of these shows, I really wanted to do a pageant. There was a pageant coming up that was called Miss Lafourche Parish. Yeah, I think it was Miss Lafourche Parish. And I had decided to do a talent number where it was a jungle remix of Alanis Morissette, You Ought to Know. You ought to know. Yeah, that old song. And it was a jungle remix with like tropical jungle sounds and monkeys going off and like birds and shit. And I went to my father to help me by helping me make costumes. My dad sews. And I went to my dad and I asked him to make me and my ex husband, Mickey, my husband at the time, to make us both a loincloth and a Jane of the Jungle outfit. A loincloth. To sew my husband a loincloth for me, my father. If y'all want to know what happens next, honey, y'all know the routine. Be here next time and I will too. I love you all. I love you all for watching and I love you for the comments. I will talk to you later. Bye, y'all.